Okay, assalamualaikum and good morning. So, welcome back to the class. So today we start a new chapter. So before I proceed, I just want you to recall. So in the first chapter, you learn about the flowchart and pseudocode. Basically, the how to represent algorithm. And in your chapter 2, you learn about the how to create a variable. So a is equals to 3, a is equals to 3, 4, something like this. And in chapter 3, you already learn about the operation. So you have metric operation and array operation. Okay, so you already know about this. And then chapter 4, okay, you learn about the control flow. So you know about how to do the decision and how to know the loop. Okay, so basically you already learn how to create an algorithm. Okay, after this you just add more function to the system. So in the chapter 5 you will learn about function. Okay, so function is basically for example, if you want to use sine, okay, cos, that is called a function. So it's already programmed inside the MATLAB. It is much more easy to use. Okay, so that is a function. Another function is you create on your own. Why you want to create a function? Why just not use, for example, here you just write the function here. So a equals to b, a equals to 1, something like that. So you can see here, when you create a program here or algorithm, okay, you write here, you save here. The problem is when you have a large algorithm, okay, very large algorithm, okay, you tend to create a function with the same name. You already use a, but then you use a again. That's become a problem because every parameter that you create, variable that you create, it will save in the workspace. It's like a temporary place to save the data. But if you use the same unknown again, it will be deleted and updated with the new one. So if the program is large, this will happen. So how to avoid that? So basically you create another safe place, okay, workspace, another workspace. Okay, how to do that? You just use a function. And another one is just to simplify your work. So this coding you already completed, you don't want to mess it up, okay, you create a function, okay, you create a okay, you create a function here. So this is a function, you have input, you have output. So when you write your program, maybe this is your main program, you write, okay, and you want to call some function, you write this code, you call it, okay, and then it will produce the output. You give the input and you get the output. So your main program will be simpler, and you can reduce the error you can create. So this one is basically the function of a function. So you can simplify your program. Okay. Okay, let us continue function, which is week 5. Okay, so objective to create a function, to create an M file for both single and multiple input, and to create a local function and nested function. Variable scope, this one no need to worry, I will show you later. So this is your objective. So you already learned about the assignment, Boolean, repetition, decision, and now this one completed. Okay, so let me put the pen. So this one you already learned. Now you go to here. Okay, so basically you have a function, you have a function name, you have an input, okay, multiple input and multiple output. Okay, this one is just to group the statement. Okay, so program file. So what is function? So program file, M file consists of a program. Okay, you can have two types, either a script file or function file. So what is script file? What is function file? Okay, so program file, what is function? Accept input and return output. I already explained this. Okay, so this one I already explained. Easier code, easy to maintain, easy to use, hiding implementation. So this one I already explained. Okay, so you need to know what is the difference between script and function. Okay, so before I show this, maybe I should show what is script, what is function. Okay, you can see here, this is my lab. You want to create a script, remember you just press script. So you just clear CLC. Okay, this is a script. Okay, so you can write anything here. A is equals to 1, B is equals to 2. Okay, so if you save this, okay, you can write anything, A, maybe the name. So you already create a script. So this is script. There is no input, there is no output. There is input, there is output, but the input and output is here. You can see here, you input it here, okay, and you output it here. Or sometimes you can input it here. So basically this is a main program inside a script. So that is script. So how about function? So for function, of course, you create a new script also. It's also the script, but at the top you have to use, okay, for example, output equals to A, B, okay, C. So this is the name of the function. Open, okay, so input. So at the top you have input and output, and of course you have to add function. Okay, so and don't forget input. So I cannot save if you don't have any. This one is equals to input, and you have to add and at last part. Okay, so this is a function, and when you save this, okay, you have to save same name as your function. So this is your name of your function. You have to save it as the same thing. And you can see here the icon is fx. It is called function. Okay, so that is the difference between function and script. So function require input and it will produce output. But this one, okay, if you don't have input, you can run it. So example, if I run this, yes, you can run. But for this case, if I run this, it will error because you don't give any input. Okay, so how to use this? You just copy this, okay, run this, okay, and input I give A plus B, for example. So I run this, then it will run this one. Okay, so that is different between input and function and script. Okay, so I think it is much more clear now, but now I continue with this. So both script function are allowed to reuse sequence command. Okay, this one simple. Okay, script is fixed, function is more flexible because you can change the input. Okay, script input output no and yes, actually is have input output, but this one is right inside the script. And workspace, you have a base workspace and you have function workspace like I mentioned before. Okay, so the data you save here, okay, inside the data you write here will not the same as here. So basically the workspace for the function is different from this one, because this is important, like I said before, to avoid overlap of variable. So basically you don't have to care too much about the variable if it is your program is too much, so it will not be here. So for example, I write C is equals to 1. Okay, if I run here, you will not see C. Okay, so it should be have C, but because it doesn't share the workspace, okay, the C don't come out. Okay, that is the advantages of using function. Okay, for example here, wait. Okay, so this one it will show the C because you don't put semicolon, but here, okay, in this workspace, C doesn't exist. Okay. Okay, so I already mentioned before you have predefined function and user-defined function. Predefined is basically built-in inside MATLAB. Okay, functions that are already made in MATLAB. User-defined, you make it on your own. Okay, so predefined, something like a cos, sine, okay, tan. Okay, that one is a function. Okay, in the calculation, it's already saved. Mod, like I showed before. Okay, so all of that is a predefined function inside the MATLAB. You don't need to create on your own. Okay, for this class only cover M file function or base function or local function, a main function, and local function and nested function. For this one it's not provided in this course. Okay, so you can explore it on your own. Okay, so we start with the predefined MATLAB function. So as I said before, sine. Okay, sine is a function you don't have to write your code on your own. Okay, and to know what is this function, okay, you just type type this the function. So it will tell you that is a built-in function inside the MATLAB. Okay, so how about sphere? Okay, if you type sphere, it will show you the parameter that you can use. So you can see here function xxx, yy, zzz. This is the output. Remember, with function you have output here and then you have input. Okay, so sphere generated this one. This is the code. So if you want to look inside the type, okay, inside the function, you just use type. Okay, and of course this is output, this is input. Okay, enough for that. User defined is just a simple one. Okay, so we move on to the the predefined is simple one, but now we move on to user defined, which is you make a function on your own. Like I said before, you have to write function and the output. Okay, open bracket here. You can use comma and comma, multiple output. Okay, this is function name and this is input. Of course, this one is normal, okay, bracket. This one is square bracket. Okay, and then you write the statement here. And if you write a function, make sure you don't forget about the end here. Put n, and of course in the statement, make sure all your statement has output variable. Okay, input doesn't matter too much, but output is important. You have to define everything, define all the output. Okay, okay, and user defined function are stored separately in M file. So like I showed before, okay, function is created with a different M file. Okay, so this one is one of way to create a function. You create another M file. Okay, this one I show you. So this one, it will create a new M file. Okay, basically function is outside of the main program. This is the main program. Okay, so this is a M file function. Okay, basically it is a separate file. Okay, so there is a separate file and there is a in the side a same file. Okay, so I will show you the same file first, or it is called the M file function. Okay, and to use them, they must be in the current directory. So means that if you main file here in the desktop, for example, for me I put at the desktop, and you have to put the file function inside the same location. If not, you cannot run this. Okay, so I give you example here. I create a folder, this function I put here, okay, inside the new folder. Okay, if I run the main file, you cannot work, okay, because the function doesn't exist. So you have to move it at the same location. Okay, so I run this, then it can run. Okay, how to use a function? You can see here output equals to poly x. Okay, and this is the function. So you can see here the function name must be the same as the file name. That's what I mentioned before. This function name needs to be same as file name. Okay, Okay, you can see it here, cccc. Your file name is also cccc, and input is after and output is before. Okay, so this is how you write poly. So you can try it on your own. Okay, so and try to call it. So I show you an example here. So I copy this. Okay, so this is the function you can see here. So if I save this, automatically it will save as the same number as the function. I save this, you can see here poly. Okay, you already create a function. For this case, I think it can be run without n. Okay, but just for safety, you just put n. Okay. Okay, so how to call this function if not you're using M5? Okay, not using script. So I just use this one. Okay, and make sure you put the input. Input is what? 3, for example. So automatically it will run this program. Okay, so let me clear this. Okay, so you can see you can call this, or you can just put x is equal to 3. Okay, and then this one is also the same. Okay, so make sure you practice how to do this. Okay, next. Okay, you can add help to the program. Okay, how to add help? Okay, you just write comment. Okay, remember that I said if you want to write comment, you just use percentage and then space, and then write the comment. Okay, so this will show your help information. Okay, you have to write it under the function. Okay, and how to call it? You just write help and then function g. Okay, so this is the function name. So it will show the help. Okay, make sure you know how to do this. Okay, this one not only work with the program but also the predefined function. Okay, so next, multiple input. So if you have multiple input, okay, you can just put in the bracket x comma y. Okay, so basically output is x power or multiplied by y. So this is array operation. So array operation, you can see here, it will call. Okay, so it call this function, and this is the function. Okay, automatically it will run this and produce this. Okay, so that is if you want to put multiple input. Okay, separate by comma. Okay, this one I already show you before. Not enough input. Oh, this one are not yet. Okay, so remember here you have 2 input. If you only input 1, okay, it will error. Okay, so it needs 2 input. Execute function will return as error. Okay, so make sure you know how many input does the function handle. Okay. Okay, to create a flexible input or a function that accepts any number of input variable called vargain and nargain can be used to handle the input. However, this is an advanced variable. Okay, not covered. Okay, so this one no need to worry too much. Okay, you already see multiple input here. Now we look at multiple output. Same also, but don't forget about the input needs to be a square. Output needs to be a square bracket. Okay, needs to be square bracket. Input normal bracket, but output need a square bracket. Okay, so be careful. So you can try this function. Okay, function distance. Okay, this one is just a physics. Okay, distance, speed, and acceleration. Okay, so motion, the function is called motion. X is time. T is time. Okay, so how to use this? Okay, let me convert this into the MATLAB. Okay, first you have to copy the function here. Okay. Okay, for function you cannot don't need to put a clear CLC close all. Okay, so it's not needed. Okay, but in the main program I suggest you put it. Okay, so of course you have to save with the same name. Okay, save it, and the location needs to be the same. Okay, so how to call it? So of course I suggest you just copy this. Okay, the function no need to copy, only this. Okay, and time you just put maybe 5. Okay, so if you run the function, okay, you get the answer. Okay, make sure you try this on your own. Okay, what happen if you have multiple input? Okay, you have a single input, but that input is a array. Okay, okay, for this case, make sure that you program can support it. For this case, it's an array operation. It should be supported. Okay, so let us try it. So you just copy this. Okay, okay, you save the time. Okay, so you copy this and you paste it with change back to t, so you get all the answer. Okay, so you get distance, velocity, and acceleration. So what if you don't want distance? Okay, so if you don't want distance, you just okay, sorry, if you only want distance, you just delete anything else, so you can get the answer only distance. Okay, so if you want distance and what is called acceleration, velocity, okay, you can just something like this. Okay, you don't need to all the output, you just write what you want. Okay, so it will show you the things that you want only. Okay, so that look here. Okay, I think there is something I forget to mention. Okay, so you can see here the answer is not the same, right? The same as this one, 5.3. Okay, for this type of coding, okay, you can just only get this one, okay, or this one, or all of 3. Okay, but you cannot just get these 2. Okay, it will needs to start from left and then to right. Okay, if you just want acceleration, okay, you cannot do that. Okay, you have to add all of it. So make sure you be careful. If you want something in the left, no need to worry, you can just get it. But something in the right, you can write only, you cannot have it. You have to have all the output. Okay, oh okay, it's mentioned here, so this is the what I have explained. Okay, so basically if you want the last output, okay, you have to return all the output. Okay, so okay, let's take a break. So I will create a attendance for you. You can slide in your attendance. Okay, slide in your attendance. Okay, pause the video and slide in your attendance. Okay, just to remind you again. Okay, test will be next week's 21 April. Okay, at 4 p.m. Okay, the chapter will be from chapter 1 to chapter 4. This chapter will not include in your exam. Okay. Okay, so now we continue with the function with the input and output. So if you want to create a function with the input and output, okay, you can just write this one. Okay, function, what is it called? Okay, or you can just put this. Okay, function square bracket and this bracket. Okay, normal bracket. So you just write this. Okay, either no, this one don't have any input or output. It's just usually just to display something. Okay, so I think this one is simple, no need to worry. Okay, so now we move on to the next types of function, local function. So before this you use m function, okay, but now you use a local function. Make sure you know the difference. So what is the difference between main function, mfile function, and main function, main mfile function, local function, and nested function? Okay, because sometimes question asks you to write these types of function. So depending on the question, some ask to make a local function, some ask to make a nested function, or some ask to make a mfile function. Okay, so let me show you the difference here. Okay, so let me clear this first. Okay, clear this first. Okay, if you recall here, this is the motion function. Okay, so this is a motion function. Okay, what it means by local function, your main function is also inside that function. So you can see here it's clear. Okay, and I call the function here at the bottom. Okay, you put the function at the bottom instead of a new file, and of course you can save it with another name. Okay, for example, you can change this to ggg. Okay, so you can rename this because this is considered as main function. Okay, so basically your function is below. Okay, you put below. This is means by local function because it is saved locally inside the main function. So if I run this, okay, oh yeah, this is why I said it is important to add n. Okay, for mfile function, it's actually no need. Okay, but if you use local function, you need to put n. Okay, so basically you can run this. So that is how you create the local function. It's basically locally stored. Okay, so and the file here, okay, the workspace also different, although it run in the same file. Okay, the workspace for this function will be different. For example, here I put c is equals to 1. Okay, so if I run this, okay, you cannot see c. Okay, you can see the c. Okay, c maybe, okay, k. Okay, you can see the k here. Okay, if I remove the semicolon, you can see the k, okay, at the top. Okay, but you cannot see in the workspace. Okay, remember function has different workspace. Okay, so let me close this first. Okay, another important thing, local function is also known as sub function. Okay, so make sure you know the terminology because sometimes the question asks you to do the local or nested function. Okay, so main versus local function. So you can see here main function, the mfile function. Okay, okay, script not exist. Okay, inside here your script doesn't exist. Create after the last line. This one is local function. Okay, the function file, okay, same file. Okay, sorry, the function file is different file. Okay, so this one function file is in the same place. Accessibility can be accessed to other function file. Okay, okay, can be accessed only the, okay, the name also, okay, needs to be unique. Okay, like I said before, the naming, it needs to be unique. Okay, this one within the function file only. Okay, so local function file. So you can see here syntax, first function. Okay, this is the main function. Okay, and the rest is local function. Okay, the term is quite weird actually. So at the top is considered as a main function. Okay, and the rest is local function. So basically anything that is at the bottom here is called local function. Okay, let's have a look at some example. So you can see here, this is a local function. Okay, this is local function. This is a main function. Okay, not a main script. It is a main function. Why? Okay, you can see here. Wait, let me open the pen. So you can see here, this is a function. Okay, so basically this is a main function. okay, not the script. Okay, last time I show you. Okay, so this is a main program or main script. Okay, because it doesn't have function. Okay, so this is the local function inside the main script. But for this case, okay, this is the main function. This is a local function. So try to be careful with this terminology. Okay, it's okay. In the final exam, I will focus it if the question involve this type of syntax. Okay, you can see here you have a main function here called compute. Okay, so this one can be called outside the program, and this is the local function. Results is equals to add x and y. Okay, so it will call this function. You can see here. Okay, this is the function name, and it will call this one. Okay, minus it will call this one. Okay, so basically there is a function inside the function. It's called local function. Okay, try to understand this. Okay, let me maybe run this. Okay, like I said before, this is a main function. Because this is a function, make sure you save it as the same name as the top one. Okay, the main function, not the local function. Local function only can be used inside this. Okay, so of course, if you want to use this, you just copy this. Okay, x and y you have to define because this is the input. Okay, and you run it, so you get the result. At result, it will print this. Okay, you can see one more thing. Okay, so you can see this is the function x and y. So x and y. Okay, but this is result, but this is add result. Okay, so basically this one doesn't need to have the same parameter. This is important. I think there is not mentioned in the note. I think. Okay, for example here, if you use x and y, this one you can use x1. Sorry, this one cannot. This one you can change x1, y1. Okay, but make sure inside here is 1 and 1 also. Okay, so if you run this one is x and y, this one is x1 and y1. It's not the same, and the output is also not the same. Oh, sorry, you have to run here. Okay, it also can run it. Okay, it's based on location of your input and output, not the parameter, the variable you use. Okay, so you can use any variable, doesn't need to be the same. Okay, so maybe this one I prefer to use 2. Okay, I shift enter, it will automatically change. Okay, y, okay, 2, 3. Okay, I shift enter, it will automatically change. Okay, so if I run this, it will run. Okay, see, the result is come out. Okay, so make sure you know. Okay, this one can run without n. Okay, there is some of it can, some of it cannot. Okay, for the, if you put the local function inside the main program, you cannot. Okay, you have to put n, but it's okay, you can just put n in here, it will still, oops, it will still run. Oh, if this happen, you have to put everything n. Okay, okay, let me try this. Okay, so for this type of function, okay, main function and local function is doesn't require to put n. Okay, but if you create a main script, okay, main program with the local function, that one you have to put n. Okay, so we move on to the next part, which is nested function. Okay, so nested function is a little bit tricky actually. Okay, a little bit confusing. So what is nested function? A function that contains within the parent function. Okay, both main and local function in the same file can include a nested function. So what it means that you have a main function, you have the local function. Okay, this is main function, you have local function. At the same time, you can put a nested function inside here. Okay, so that is meant by this. Since the nested function residue within the function, end command is used to mark the end of a nested function. Okay, so basically nested function is, okay, so let me use this. So basically you have a function inside a function. So you can see here, this is the main function because this is the first one. Okay, and this is the end of the main function. But inside this function you have this nested function, a function inside a function. Okay, and of course for this case you have to put n. Okay, for this case, okay, need to use to show the nested function in the parent function. Okay, parent function is the main function. So you can see here, this is the main function, r, circumference, area. Okay, and you can display it. Okay, and then you can call the function. So c, where is call c function. Okay, so basically because this is no input, it will just, okay, let me clear this first. Okay, so you can see here there is no input, so no need to put input. Okay, and you can see here the function name is ci, this is ci. Okay, and remember that I said output and input you can change anything. Okay, the advantage of using nested function is that, okay, the workspace is shared. Okay, the workspace is shared, so you don't have to include the d. Okay, remember here d, this is the input of the main function d. Okay, so in this nested function you can see here d is needed, but you don't have to import the d inside here. Okay, so this one can run it because your workspace is shared for nested function. So I recall back, this one is the workspace, it will share. Okay, so let me run this. Okay, you can see here, okay, it is highlighted, means that there is a error. Function name myCircle is not the same as name. So you can see here, okay, I put s, okay, not the same. So it will be the same, and the error is no longer highlighted. Okay, so you already save this. Okay, of course you just copy this, okay, here, okay, and put the d, so maybe 5, so you can run it. Okay, so make sure you try this. Okay, if you want to try, it's better you create on your own nested function. Okay, just for practice. Okay, so of course depending on the function you create, for this case this is a array operation, so you can put multiple value for that variable. Okay, so enter, you will get two answer for 5 and 6. Okay, that's it for nested function. Okay, you already learned about the predefined and also user defined, which is your create your own function. So make sure you practice how to use this function. So now we look at the variable scope. This is more towards the theory. I already explained most of it actually. So what it means by base workspace, store variable at your create at the command line. This includes any variable that is scripts store. Okay, so basically this is the base workspace. Okay, this one is the base workspace because it is the main one. Okay, if I put here a is equal to 11, it will save it here. Okay, if I run a program here, a equals to b equals to 1 2 3, it will save as in the base workspace. Okay, that is mean by base workspace. How about function workspace? So function workspace is basically inside the function. So like I show you before, you cannot view the function workspace. So if you run this, okay, this one, okay, if I put not a, v is equals to 2, okay, so if I run this, oh sorry, I have to run from here. Okay, so basically there is no v here because that one will be saved. The v equals to 22 will be saved inside the function workspace. Okay, it will not share the place. Okay, and every function has its own workspace. If you have a main function, if you have a local function, it will not share the function workspace. Okay, except nested. Nested is shared inside the workspace with the function. Okay, so why is that? Is just to protect the integrity of the data. As I mentioned before, if you have very large program, you need to have you tend to use the same variable. Okay, so basically this different workspace, it will make your data more secure. Okay, and so also you need to know that is the data inside the function workspace is called local variable. Okay, why is local variable is called local? Because it's only known to the function itself and not to others. Okay, it is locally safe. So make sure you try to understand this. So this is the main program. You can see here A and B. Okay, so you have other script. You can use the data local function. Okay, you have the different variable. Okay, function file. You have a different workspace. Okay, nested function, you share the same. You share the same workspace. Okay, local function also have a workspace on their own, but if nested inside the local function, it share the same one. Nested function share the same workspace. So try to understand this. Okay, and try to differentiate between. Okay, remember main program, local function. Okay, function file, main function, local function. So this is a different file. Okay, M file. Okay, this one is the same location. Okay, local function, main function, and local function. Okay, it's a little bit tricky to understand, but try your best to understand it. Okay, you can try to test this. Okay, you can see here function result distance result equals to this one. Okay, so you write here g is equals to this one, t is equals to this one. Okay, you can see here g is inside the base function, base workspace. Okay, g is inside the base workspace because you write it in the command window. Okay, for those who don't know, this is command window, the bottom one here. Okay, depend on your PC. Some PC use a different setting, but it is one. You can write anything here. Okay, so that is why this function cannot run, because you want to use the g inside the function, but the g is at the base workspace, and this one is in the function workspace, specifically to the distant function workspace. Okay, passing argument. So if you want to pass the argument, you have to put the input. That's why you have the input here. Okay, so you can see here, this is the input, this is the input. You have to pass the argument. Okay, so you can see here x is the input. Okay, this is the output, and this is the function's name. So this x is used here. Okay, a and create n, and this n is used at the second and third one. Okay, so you can see here x. Okay, length you don't calculate. My mean. Okay, my mean. This is my mean. Okay, this is my mean. Okay, this is my mean. Okay, so basically this one I already explained actually. So if you have input is x here at this function, but in this function you don't use x. For example, you are programmed long time ago and you use v. Okay, so you can put it here v, but here you can use x. Okay, so you can put a. Okay, and this one you can put average. Okay, it's more towards location, not the name. Okay, when it comes to function, it is the location of the input and output that is considered. Okay, so this one is just normal one. Okay, so function. Okay, sum. Okay, sum, you know, sum is basically you sum everything up. Okay, so no need to worry, this one will be learned in the algebra, I think I forget already. Okay, and then reminder, this is reminder. I think I already explained you what is reminder. Sum is just sum. Okay, if you have multiple row or data and column, okay, so it will sum to the bottom if not mistaken. Okay, you sum everything in the column. Okay, so this is how the argument is passed from one function to another. Okay, same here. You can see here this one is x, this is mat, so this is v, this is m. So doesn't matter as long as is this function use the same variable here. Okay, this one doesn't share the same variable. Okay, so try to understand how the passing arguments work. Okay, so this one basically just continuity of this one. This one just create a data here, random integer from 100, I think. Okay, one size. Okay, maybe you can try this. Okay, okay, already copy this. Okay, make sure the name is the same. Okay, the directory also the same. This one is the directory. So if you run this random data, okay, basically create integer data. Okay, so it will create 100 data. Okay, or 200. Okay, with one line. Okay, so maximum, this is maximum is 100. Okay, you can see here there is not more than 100 max. Okay, this one. Okay, so this is maximum. Okay, so integers start from 1 2 3 4 5. There is no negative, there is no zero. So this is the row. How many row? Only one row. This is column. Okay, so make sure you know how to use it and then call this function. Okay, so this one you have to change to data because you don't use x in here, you use data because you want to call this back. So enter, you will get the answer. The average is 50, the median is 50 also. Okay, okay, this one also I already explained before. Okay, nested function scope. So remember that for local function, main function, and local function, main function, and the main and local function, main function. Okay, local function and main function. Okay, then the scope, the scope of the workspace is not shared, but for nested is shared. So this is what happened. You can see here. You can see here D. You can see D. Okay, it will insert here D, and this is the main program. This is the nested function. So you can use the D. Okay, so basically it's share the same workspace. Okay, no need to worry for nested and for nested function. Okay, so you don't have to input the data. Okay, if local function you have to input the data like before, but for nested function you don't need to input the data because it share the same function, same area. Okay, so R also share. Okay, so I hope you understand how the workspace work. Okay, for this case you don't need to worry. I think clear already explained here. Clear the workspace. Who's also save, I think you can learn on your own. Okay, as is also maybe later you will learn this. Okay, save, I think you don't have to learn, but better to, okay, you have to learn this. Okay, save in chapter 6. Okay, so no need to worry, this one will be later. And we move on to the last part. I think I can finish this up. Okay, chapter 5 is quite a short chapter. So toolbox. What is toolbox? Okay, so toolbox is a collection of following into a one package. So you have a MATLAB function, system object, Simulink. Okay, so this one example, documentation, data, and apps. Okay, so basically this course only focus on MATLAB function. Okay, Simulink you can explore on your own. This one will be useful in your FYP, maybe in your assignment. This one is the documentation, app, some of it you will learn. Okay, but not in this course. Okay, toolbox can be added into the MATLAB in 3 sources. Okay, so basically if your MATLAB required an additional function or additional data or additional app, you can take it from the network, okay, toolbox, community, or share toolbox. So basically just if you use Chrome, you have add-on, right? So basically toolbox is just something like a add-on. Okay, if you need additional function, you just use the toolbox. Okay, okay, of course you can create your own toolbox here. If you have create a code and you want to use it multiple times inside the coding, you want to use it again and again, okay, is you can create your own toolbox. Once you have created a set of functions, you can manage them by either group it into a directory, okay, and the MATLAB search, or package it into a MATLAB toolbox, or this one. Okay, you create a mltb.bx file, okay, MATLAB toolbox file. Okay, so you can share your function with anybody else with the file exchange. This one is just a website to exchange file for MATLAB. Okay, how to create a toolbox? So basically just in the environment, home, package, toolbox, add-on. Okay, okay, you can just try it on your own. Okay, you save the function. Okay, for example here you already create a function mustard. Okay, this one, okay, in the home, okay, add-on, package, toolbox. Okay, so you can basically it will compile this function into a file that you can install together. Okay, so this one no need to worry, this one you can explore on your own. Okay, this is, you can write the name, author, email, maybe you can, okay, you can put it here. Okay, that's it for chapter 5. It is quite simple actually. So let me summarize what you have learned. Okay, okay, you have it's called function, chapter 5. Okay, first you learn about the predefined function, and then you learn about the user defined function, and user defined function is divided to 3 types. Okay, okay, you divide into 3 types, which is mfile function, function, okay, function, or main function is also called main function, and then you have a local function which is below the main function or below the script. Okay, and then you have a nested function. Okay, you can be inside the local function or main function. So you learn about this, and then you learn also about scope of the workspace. Okay, so workspace, you can have a base and also base workspace and also function workspace. Okay, and before I forget, from this you learn about passing argument. Okay, which means that the input to connect between this function doesn't mean you have to use the same same variable. Okay, you can use different name of the variable, but the location needs to be the same. And lastly, you learn about toolbox. So that's it for chapter 5. Okay, so make sure you know how to create all of this. Okay, how to use this. Okay, because the question for final asks you how to create for example, a local function inside a nested function for this. Okay, You can try look at the example. Past year, oh, this one I don't share it yet. Okay, remember next week is your test, and make sure you check out the past year question, okay, for test. I already share it inside the e-learning. Okay, try to look if you want some practice, because I also give the answer. Okay, so that's it for today. Okay, make sure you slide in your attendance. Okay, see you again next week.